The Silent Garden. In a small, secluded village, there was a garden unlike any other. Its walls were lined with ivy so thick that no sunlight ever pierced through, and the air was thick with the scent of forgotten flowers. No one could remember when the garden had been planted, nor could they recall anyone ever tending to it. Yet, it flourished, an impossible oasis that seemed to grow without the hands of a gardener. People who came to the village would often wander into the garden, lured by the whispers of its allure. It was said that anyone who entered the garden would experience something extraordinary. Some spoke of hearing voices from the past, while others claimed to have seen visions of distant lands. But there was one rule no one dared to break. You must never speak in the garden. For in the silence, the garden held its power. One day, a young woman named Lila arrived in the village. She was weary from a long journey and stumbled upon the garden by accident. Drawn to the beauty and mystery of it, she stepped inside without hesitation. The moment she crossed the threshold, a soft, almost imperceptible hum filled the air, as if the garden itself had acknowledged her presence. Lila wandered between the flowers, her fingers brushing against petals that seemed to shimmer in the muted light. She felt a strange sense of peace and curiosity intertwining within her. For the first time in years, she felt like she belonged, like this place had been waiting for her. As she reached the center of the garden, where an ancient stone bench rested beneath a twisted, flowering tree, she sat down and closed her eyes. And then, the whispering began. It was subtle at first, like a faint breeze rustling through the leaves. But soon, the whispers grew louder, more distinct. They weren't words, at least not in any language she knew. But the meaning behind them was undeniable. They were calling her. Lila listened, unable to resist, as the garden seemed to speak directly to her heart. The whispers carried tales of forgotten dreams, of love lost in time, of memories that had faded but never truly disappeared. And amidst it all, one voice stood out, a voice that seemed both familiar and strange. "Come closer." Her heart raced. The air around her thickened, and the ground beneath her feet began to shift. Without thinking, she stood up, her feet moving toward the source of the voice. The world around her seemed to blur, and in the distance, she saw a figure, shadowed, and yet somehow radiant. "I've been waiting for you," the voice echoed, now clear and unmistakable. As Lila approached, the figure became clearer. It was a woman, dressed in flowing robes, her face hidden behind a veil of light. The figure extended a hand toward Lila, and without hesitation, Lila reached out to take it. The moment their hands touched, the garden exploded into brilliant color. The flowers bloomed in an instant, their petals unfurling to reveal faces, faces Lila recognized, people she had loved, people she had lost. They all smiled at her, their voices harmonizing in a chorus of joy and sorrow. "You've found the heart of the garden," the woman whispered. "It holds everything that was, is, and will be." Lila's eyes filled with tears as she realized that the garden was not merely a place. It was a reflection of her own soul, of all the people and moments that had shaped her. And now, at the garden's center, she had finally found herself. With the garden's final whisper, she understood. She didn't need to speak, because the silence held more truth than words ever could.